ACC service comes on again. Same highway. I talked about this before in another video. Doing the same thing. Driving out to this job I gotta do, and it's on the same highway. It's been on for, I don't know, 10 minutes. I'll say 10. I'll give it 10 minutes. And now I gotta pull over. There's a rest stop up here. Yeah, highway assist unavailable, service required. So I think how I'm going to approach this, I'm not going to call the dealership, because I don't trust anything about Dodge service. I don't. Oh, it's not this one. Yeah, I don't. After buying this car, joining the forum, and then seeing how poorly Dodge owners were being taken care of by Dodge, especially with these Hornets. I don't know about, Dodge Journeys, Durangos, or Hellcats, or whatever, right? This was a brand new car. The launch went terrible, and the cars were new to everybody, even the service techs. Nobody was trained on them. I've said this before, and people got so frustrated. Not, necessarily the problems with the car, like the problems with the car. Problems with the car, yes, but Dodge could not fix any of them. Dodge couldn't fix the problems, right? So people enacted lemon laws on these Hornets. And, there's a few good stories of, people taking them in for oil changes and stuff, and everything going well with the new updates and things that were slowly coming out, and doing some of the fixes on some of the stuff, which was good, I guess. But, my personal experience, I took this to my first oil change. I actually waited a long time for my first oil change. I had to do a cross-country trip, a couple of provinces over. In Europe, it'd be a cross-country trip. And what I didn't want to happen was to take it into the dealer and have something go wrong with it, where I would not be able to perform that trip. And I had to move. We were moving the entire house. We were moving our entire lives across the province, to a different province, right? And nothing could interfere with that. The car was working just fine as it was. It did have a little bit of foibles here and there, and that highway assist thing did happen during the trip, but it was nothing catastrophic, right? Whereas other Hornet owners had, massive catastrophes with the first round of cars that came out. So I took this in after that long trip and to the dealership, and was reassured everything's going to be fine. Updates needed to happen. I gave them all the time in the world with the car. They had 2 days for an oil change and to perform updates. I get the car back. I didn't say anything. I didn't say, hey, I'm on the forum. Hey, I know all about these cars. I didn't say nothing. I was like, hey, yeah, absolutely, do your thing. Go for it. I had it for 2 days. I had two big updates, for the, I don't know, ECM, body control module, electronic control module, whatever, I don't know. There was 2 big updates, he said, and they did the oil change. And I got the car and I drove it home. And on the highway home, the service within message comes up. with a, you know, with a mileage indicator, you know, saying that I have to change my oil. So the oil life reset hadn't been done, right? I phoned them up and I said, hey, you know, the oil life reset hasn't been done. Oh, he's like, oh, it's okay. You just do the, you know, step on the pedal for 30 seconds or 3 seconds, whatever the stupid thing is that Dodge does, right, to clear that. And I know, like, this isn't a Dodge. This is an Alfa Romeo. I know this. I quickly, before buying this car, I looked up on the internet, what is a Hornet? And it told me it's a rebadged Alfa Tonale. That tells me it's not a Dodge, right? I took, you know, so I phoned him up and I said that, and he goes, oh, I go, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I'll bring the car in again when I'm available. When's a good day for you? Because my time isn't important, obviously. Their time is, in order to get the car in, to get it done. Oh, just whip by whenever you're in town, sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I got to make a trip to town for this. So I go in there and I show them. I went to the Hornet Owners Forum and I said, I wrote the story in there and I got the thing and I kept that on my phone. I got a ride in with my dad so that they could have the car for as long as they needed to get the work done. And so I showed him off of the forum what he has to do in order to reset the oil life on the car. You gotta plug it in the big computer, you have to go through the YTech app, and you have to reset it in the body control module. I didn't design the car, but that's how it's done. So every time this goes for an oil change, it has to be plugged into the computer to be reset. Problem solved, no big deal. We all learned a lesson. So because I had that wacky interaction at that dealership, I needed an oil change done quickly on the next time. There was a place beside me where I was working. I said, hey buddy, can you do the oil change? He's like, yeah. And I said, can you like reset the oil life or whatever? He's like, I don't, you know, my computers won't talk to the car. They're not updated to the newest stuff. But I can do the oil change, and your oil life, it'll last, you know, however long, right? But it will go on to your Carfax. I said, yeah, okay, fine, perfect. Did that with him, no big problem. Third oil change comes, I'm like, I have to do this at the dealership because this car needs to be plugged into the computer, because then the oil life reset has to reset, because I'm over on kilometers in the oil life reset thing. It never showed up on my message board. So I did take it in as soon as I could. The oil was getting dark and I knew it had to be done. So I just took it in, said, hey, can you do this? But also, you know, I did a video about this. Like the bearing, whatever, my wheel was doing some weird stuff, and the sales manager came, or not the sales manager, the service manager lady came out and sat with me where I was sitting, saying, okay, so can we talk about this? And I had it all set up. She, you know, we'll fix that. You don't have to pay for this, but you will have to pay for that. And the bearing got fixed, and I was happy about that. I also mentioned you know, it hugs to the right side of the road. The camera probably has to be configured. She goes, maybe the alignment will fix that, and, you know, let us know after we're done, right? All of this, and really all I wanted to do was change the oil, but, you know, other things had to be done. No problem. How long do you need the car? Take it, and then fine. They had it for the day. I went back. She came to talk to me again, sat down, said, yeah, we did this, we did that, and you pay for this. And I said, yeah, okay, perfect, okay. Wrote in the thing. First of all, I had a communication error over, you know, lane sense and the driver self-driving thing, right? She thought it was lane sense, and it's not the lane sense. This car self-drives. The other Dodges I've driven, they don't do this. I don't know if it's only a Hornet thing or if newer Dodges are just starting to do it, but all the other Dodges I've driven, they only have the lane assist. Our Jeep has it. All these Sprinter vans that I'm driving, they all have it. You know, they have the sonar, they have the lane assist thing, they have the ACC. It all looks similar. This car self-drives, and it's called driver assist. And when you put it in the assisted cruise control portion of it, you can have the radar on, or you can have the lane assist on. And I usually just use, I use the radar portion of it, and the car just drives itself, and I just touch the wheel every now and again to keep it, to let it know that a human being is here. Okay, she kept calling it the lane assist, and I was like, okay, well, you don't know the car. But I remember leaving that interaction saying, I've never brought the car in because nobody knows how to work on it. And she quickly retorted, like she should, yes, we do. We know how to work on these cars. And the funniest part of that was, then I asked her, did you reset the oil? Did you reset the oil life thing? And she goes, oh, I'm sure he did. Because she goes, he's just bringing it around there. I'll go ask him. So she ran out where the car was parked. He had parked it outside. He said, hey, did you reset the oil? And she goes, well, he says just to push the pedal and all of that, right? That's all that they have to do. And I said, no. I said, I've gone through this already here. That's not how it works. You might want to write this down and let him know. Because you got to plug it into the big computer. You got to go through the YTech app, and the oil life reset is done through the body control module. She goes, oh, okay, I'll go ask him if he did that. I watch as the guy runs out, takes my car, pulls it back in. She comes in and says, yeah, they're pulling it back in so that they can reset your oil. Now, at the end of this, I got, the email saying, how was your service at Dodge today, or whatever, rate your experience, or whatever it is, right? I did it on the first one, and I kind of gave them a decent review, I guess. But I'm in bohunk fucking middle of nowhere, Alberta, and I've got what Dodge wants to, sold me a, luxury SUV, entry level, whatever you want to call it. The cars I've owned haven't been spectacular, right? But I've taken them well, I shouldn't say that. My Hondas I took to a dealership because the dealership treated us good. The cars were always washed. The footwells were always vacuumed. The service was always done. And I didn't complain. They worked on the car. They knew the car. Everything went great. And I just paid the bill. And I just walk away, and that's like a 10 out of 10 rating. Where I'm happy to give my money. The first time, so I get the car back after my first oil change, after having to tell them how to, reset the oil life on it, because they didn't know. And we're actually, happy that, I knew it. I knew it, and I could tell the tech, right? The young guy who was doing, he said, oh yeah, okay. I know this. I can do this. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, okay. I get my car back. It's not a big deal, but it is a deal. The car was dirty. I didn't wash it before bringing it in, and I got the car back not washed, and I didn't, footwells weren't cleaned. And I just mentioned that in the review, saying I've taken my cars usually to places, and this stuff gets done. I guess in Alberta, in the middle of nowhere, at Dodge dealerships, this doesn't happen. Not a big deal, but it makes you feel good as a customer bringing your car in, because I don't know. If I am a mechanic, I don't want to be working on a dirty car. You know what I mean? Especially when you're paying way too much for them, which we are, right? And now this is all about Dodge customer service. And I don't just mean the people, that I'm talking to who are trying to fix my car and make things work. I'm talking company as a whole, right? I got my car back that second time. The same thing. I didn't expect it to get washed or nothing like that, and it wasn't, and whatever. And I'm leaving the dealership. I'm like, how do I, when I get this email, how am I gonna rate this, right? Like, I did not get shitty service. I didn't. Those people there were trying their best, and they did their best, and they met all my, they ticked all the boxes. They ticked all the boxes like they're supposed to, even though I had to remind them how to fix the car. You know, so that I didn't have to come back again, like I did the last time I was there. So, you know, how would you rate your experience at the last Dodge dealership? I actually never did it. I never did it. I just let it fade away and die. There is no point, now here's the thing. This all comes down to, I'm getting this message again. I've had this message come on, you know, since I've owned the car, right? I haven't done anything to it. I thought the updates would take care of it that I did the first time around, and it hasn't, right? I got that one and I got the liftgate one still. Now, I've been really thinking of, you know, do I call the dealership and say, hey, I got this stuff wrong with the you know, and can you fix it, please? Because on the forum, guys have done that. They've had the same problem with the liftgate and with the ACC shutting off, right? And they've taken it to the dealership and they come back, hey, it's all fixed. No problems, right? Now I'm thinking of actually going through Dodge Cares on the Hornet Owners Forum, starting a ticket and following this, because I do not trust, and it's not because they're shifty. It's just a total lack of knowing it, right? Which I can totally see. Modern cars are super complicated. It's impossible to learn everything about them, you know, but, you know, paying top dollar for vehicles, paying top dollar to have them fixed at your place of business. Like, I don't know. I should not have, and Alfa Romeo, I think, has the same problem with their dealerships here in North America, where it's crap customer service. And it's not because the people aren't trying, or not because the people there don't care, right? I think it's a failure on the company as a whole, where there is something really wrong in the background, where customers are left like this. You know, I bet you my ass, if I was in a BMW, this would not be happening. I would not have to go in there and tell a BMW tech how to reset the oil life on a BMW. Guaranteed. The best, I would not have to go into Lexus and say, hey, this is how, you know, did you reset? No, you didn't. Like, you got to do it like this. Like, I would not have to say something like that when I go in there, right? I'm not comparing this Dodge Hornet to one of those. Dodge is. Okay? This is what they sold the Hornet as. You know, hot rod SUV, or whatever you want to call it, muscle car SUV, sure. But it was also, Dodge went into the Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Stellantis, moved all of their vehicles into the luxury segment. If you're driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee, they sold it to you as a luxury item. If you're driving a Durango, they sold it to you as a luxury item. If you're driving, I don't care, Dodge Journey, Pacifica, or whatever the stupid minivan thing is called, Dodge was moving into a luxury segment, and they were getting rid of all the low-end segments, and that's what you were sold it as. Somewhere in the conversation, or somewhere in the marketing, you were being sold a luxury item. And this is not how you treat people who buy luxury items. Like, it really isn't. You know, you got to have your shit together. And Dodge doesn't. Stellantis doesn't. Whatever it is. But I knew that coming in. But the problem comes when, like, I need something fixed, and I do not trust taking it in, because, not because the people are shifty, like I said, it's because they don't know. And they're obviously not paying enough to keep people who do know there to keep fixing these things. I know this is kind of it's really ranty, but I didn't have this problem at Honda. I didn't, well, we sort of had a weird problem at Toyota, but it was a weird problem. It was the first year for the whole CarPlay thing, and we had to get it signed over in our name, and that was a shit show. But nothing wrong with the car. We take the car there. They knew how to fix it. They knew how to reset the oil life. They knew how to, the car was clean. They washed the car at Toyota, where they earned less money than a Dodge in selling the car. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars less. We would go there. Our vacuums, our mats would be vacuumed, and the car would be rinsed off. Pure and simple. Easy peasy. If I give a car dealership my car for 2 days, a full day and a half for an oil change, like, it's not caked with mud. I don't know. This is my frustration with Dodge service, I guess. And I am one of the better off ones because nothing is going wrong with my car that is severe enough that I can't drive it. And I think this is where, the Hornet launch went really bad, was because, yes, they were releasing these cars. They were untested. They were whatever. And they sent them out on the road. Half of them were good. Half of them were lemons. And nobody could know which was which and what problems were what. And when it came time to, solve these problems, Dodge dropped the ball, and people got frustrated because none of the techs, nobody knew how to work on these cars. Nobody knew how to work on these cars from the company that you bought them from. And then customers were treated like crap. And then they walked away and enacted lemon laws, or took the cars back and said, I'll take the loss because it's better in the long run than dealing with you people. Yeah, so, stick it up your thing, Dodge, because whoever's in charge is a lunatic. Absolutely. I know there's people that have had Dodges and had nothing but great experiences and things like that. I'm new to Dodge. I've hated them all my life. I changed my tune after buying this car, saying, oh, this is a really good product and things are going well, and, I hope for the best, right? And just after how I've been, and I haven't been treated bad. That's the thing. Like, I haven't been treated bad. I really haven't. And I don't want to sound like some entitled fuck, but I'm not, right? Like, I'm just saying, I take the car in to do an oil change. I should not have to be telling people how to complete the oil change. I don't know. That's not entitled. That's me asking somebody, can you do this for me? And them saying, yes, I can do that. And then them not being able to do it. That's just, it's not even, I know it's not incompetence. Well, it's ignorance. It's ignorance. It's not a criticism of any kind against, the people working there, because those people were really good. Because I have to say that, I'm looking through the thing and I was treated really good, but they didn't know anything. They could not perform their jobs, right? And I don't want it to reflect bad on them because they aren't being told by their parent company how to do their job. So how can they perform at their job if they don't know what their job is? Catch-22. And I know that those emails and rate the dealer or whatever it is, that only affects that dealership. You say anything bad, they get pounced on by the parent company. The parent company never takes responsibility for it, right? They just stick it to the little guys, right? The end user. And dealerships are in a crunch right now too. They're in serious trouble because of their parent company. Some guy shelled out some money to run a dealership and forced to buy cars, forced to put rental payments on all these cars that they can't sell. They really can't, right? And they're going to get no help from their parent company. They're going to have to eat it and go under, or make it work somehow. I don't know. I know that their dealerships are a rocking hard place right now. And then, you know, as a user here, as the end product person who's got to go to that dealership to get work done, because the dealerships force you to go to the dealership to get the work done, because they're the ones who have all the tools and specific knowledge of your vehicle, and then you take it there and they can't do it, you know. And that's Dodge in a nutshell. That's Stellantis in a nutshell. I don't want bad juju on the car. I do not want bad juju on the people working on it. You know, there is something really wrong with a company when at the very, very bottom, where you need service to make a dealership run, and I do not want to take my car in for service to spend my money there. I want to spend it somewhere else. Because at least I'll be dealing with somebody who knows they don't know. And we can work together on the car. Whereas I take it to the dealership and it's like, oh no, we know it all. And then you find out they don't. And you're just wasting more time and more money. You know, like I've had really good dealership experiences with cars I've owned. I've also had really good experiences at shops that are secondary, you know, some guys auto shop. I've had really good experiences at both. I've also had bad experiences at the dealership, and I've had bad experiences with, you know, side guys, right? My parents always say never take it to the dealership. I'm like, I know it's hit and miss. It depends on the dealership. It depends. It really depends on the company and the dealership. It's the same thing with taking it to, you know, Doug's Auto Repair. You know, could be a hit and miss. Yeah, this is like I think I'm gonna go through Dodge Cares on the forum, start a ticket, get it sent to whatever it is there where I live, and then hopefully something will get fixed, because it's broken. And I had the lady that time when she did the bearing and the alignment and all of that, right? She said, oh, this could have been fixed. I was at 23,000 kilometers. She goes, you're over the 20,000 kilometer warranty thing, right? So you will have to pay for some of it. And I'm like, that's when I said, like, I have not felt that I could trust bringing this car in to get work done, because nobody knows how to work on this car. And the proof is on the Dodge Hornet forum. There's a whole forum dedicated to, or a whole thread dedicated to how the techs don't know how to work on these cars. They weren't educated. They never received training. Not only that, but they're going through people like crazy because they're not paying them enough. Can't keep techs, can't keep mechanics, you know. So for her to kind of say that to me, I kind of like, And then after the fact, have to tell them how to reset the oil life. It's just the little things in the details is when you find out where the proof is in the pudding, right? Nothing's a catastrophe. It's just, kind of gets under my skin. You know, even if it doesn't get fixed, I can live with the car like that, right? But after having her chastise me about, you know, bringing it in too late, I'm going to have it tracked, I think, by Dodge Cares on the forum. I think that's the best way to do it, because I don't want to be chastised by taking my car to the dealership too late to get something fixed when they don't know how to fix it. Oh my God. Hit a like if anything identifies here with you. If you like something I said. If you agree with me, leave it in the comments. If you disagree, leave it in the comments too, because I know there are good experiences out there that nobody's had problems added, you know, taking their cars to dealerships and things like that, right? Let me know. Let me know, please. Wish me luck. How about that one? All the luck to the Hornet. Wish the car luck. Let's do that. Take care of this car. It's a good little car, and I like it. All right, I'll see you in the next one.